Welcome to Married to Movies. Industry insiders John Russell and Tracy Kring live and work happily in cinematrimony. They're sharing behind-the-scenes adventures of writing, producing, and appreciating films.
Good morning, babe.
Good morning, babe.
I have new glasses.
You have new glasses. I have new glasses too, but I'm not wearing them right now.
Because they're yours for reading.
They are just for reading. That is the only purpose they serve.
I don't need them for anything other than like my phone and my laptop screen.
Right.
Those are like the two things. You're wearing all Hussy Fit
all
the time.
Hussy Fit all the time. Hussy Fit is the punk rock band that my niece plays bass guitar in. When I got to Nashville, I walked around with a tape of me playing bass guitar and went into the record companies.
That sounds embarrassing.
You know, it's one of those things where you survived it.
And what was the response you got?
You know, most of the response I got was like, you know, this isn't the way you're supposed to do this, right? You know, this is not how you get recording gigs.
But this is how I get discovered.
No, it wasn't like that. I mean, there was like one person that gave me a good response. It was just it's just one of those things where you're just like, when you look back on it and you're, I really shouldn't have done that. But I did it. I survived. And here I am today. And
you don't play bass for a living?
Well, I don't play bass for a living anymore. I could play bass for a living.
Oh, could you? Oh, there's paying
I
bass
could
gigs?
find a way to play bass for a living.
But
that's all I would be doing. Is hustling for bass gigs.
Well,
that's
I mean,
all
you're doing is hustling for film gigs. So.
Yeah, but bass gigs are so much smaller.
I don't actually need my glasses like to do the show, so I'm gonna like take them off now.
Okay.
I just wanted people to see my new glasses.
Okay, fair enough.
And like, I did not even realize this. Like,
what?
They totally match my laptop.
They do. There was a guy that had posted that he was looking for someone to help him.
With a documentary.
To make a documentary. And we got on the phone with him. He was a very young guy, seemed like a very cool guy. He had a great idea for a documentary.
Well, he had a lot of like energy.
He had a lot of energy. He was hyped up. He was very excited.
Yeah, he was very excited.
And then he was like, and there's this guy who is
knows all this stuff. It's
deep
like
throat guy.
Aaron Brockovich.
It was very much that Aaron Brockovich vibe.
When the guy's at the bar and he's like, yeah, they told me to shred all these papers.
That's right. And
I don't do what I'm told.
It was red from the nosebleeds.
I believe it is a good idea for
It is a really good idea for a documentary.
I don't think anybody's really going to do it.
He basically says, you know, I'll get back with you once I found out some stuff. We wait about a week.
I'm like, hey, check in on the guy.
Yeah, we text him. I'm sorry I missed you guys. I was in the
I'm in the hospital.
I'm in the hospital. And I have a new phone and
he's in the hospital and he's got a new phone.
Right.
That's pretty much code for I'm sketchy as fuck. We're like, okay, well, he's written off, but maybe let's consider moving forward on this project.
Yeah, who knows?
Without the dude.
Right.
Screw you. Yeah, but you're like, hey, let's get on the phone maybe at 8 and talk. And he's like, 8 a.m. or 8 p.m.? ? And then 10 minutes later, we get a giant text message from him.
And we think that he didn't mean to send it to us.
I think that's the case.
But the text message says,
I wasn't in the hospital.
I wasn't in the hospital. I was in rehab. And it goes into a whole thing about how his brother is also in rehab for heroin. So two brothers, heroin abuse. His brother stole his Suboxone. And he just like goes off and mad at his brother for stealing all of his Suboxone.
So much information here. So much family information.
Things that we should not be hearing about.
No.
About
and like
the multiple heroin addiction of this family.
Well, I didn't even know people could snort heroin or something.
Yeah, that was a thing. Yeah,
okay.
yeah. But what's interesting is that when you are watching like The Pit or ER, they prescribe 50 milligrams of Oxy. I mean, they
that's
do.
What a Percocet
they
is.
Are giving you the same stuff. Because
a Percocet is Tylenol and Oxy.
exactly. We're sorry that we're referring to you only as Heroin Brothers. Okay, the whole thing with this script, because you said that we should have started writing the script on spec.
Sure. I get hired to write a script. Okay, that's fine. I'll just write a damn script because I have to write it.
Mm-hmm.
I don't care. Like, the outcome of it even becoming like a film is irrelevant to the fact that it has to be written.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like, I have several scripts that are that way. They call to be written. The danger to making a pitch deck for something that you actually don't have a script for
Yes.
is that your bluff gets called every freaking time.
Absolutely. Like, what possibly could happen? If they like it, they want more. And that's always what happens. Whatever you offer to somebody, they want more.
Well,
And they want what you don't have.
yeah, and you have to hurry up and create it. The lead was hot,
Mm-hmm.
and they said, okay, well, we'd read the script. I told you we should just take several days here and buckle down and write this damn script. And you were like, no, I'm not going to do that. And the lead grows colder with every passing day.
Of course. Yeah.
And we're like, are we going to do it or not? Is
Okay.
it a script that necessarily, like, I have thought of it several times since we did the deck.
Really? So there's a new show that we are starting called Your Friends and Neighbors with
Yeah.
John Hamm.
Yeah. And I was super excited when I saw Olivia Munn show up.
Yes.
You know, she struggled with breast cancer recently.
Yes, I have heard that.
Yeah.
She's married to John Mulaney.
Yeah, I think you're right.
Yes. Yes, she is.
I think you're right.
Right.
That would be a very fun couple.
I think they would. I think they would be very cool. Yeah, John Mulaney is hilarious. But I
John Mulaney
noticed
has struggled with addiction.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Olivia Munn is sort of like the very much the love interest of John Hamm, who's divorced.
If there is a love interest.
Well, they are interested in love making. There is
that's not love making.
there's a
and
lot of
that's a
love
disgusting
making.
term.
Love
Blech.
making. Making
Blech.
that love.
Okay, let's not say that word anymore.
Does that really bother you?
It's disgusting.
Love making.
I'm literally gonna puke. I'm not kidding. It's like right there.
It's like right there. She is naked about half of her scenes in the show.
She's beautiful.
She's
and
beautiful.
They do tasteful nudity.
Well, I don't even think there was any nudity. I mean,
side boob.
Maybe,
But
yeah.
she has a lot of hair, you know, to cover it up.
On her head. Is this misogynistic?
Yes, it is.
Is it?
It is.
I mean,
It's written very
any form of like sex where
because she's writing him.
yeah, there's a lot of
No,
writing.
that's how they get away with their misogyny. As long as it looks like she's having a great time,
Right.
she's initiating or whatever, and he looks miserable, then you can cover any sin.
So if she is being pleasured and he is doing a job, then it's not misogyny.
Well, that's what they think.
Okay.
Yeah, then they can have vapid, shallow, undeveloped female characters as long as he hates the sex.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's really annoying because then like she's the one getting anything out of the relationship or the interaction.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like she's a powerful woman. I mean, it's just all still so patriarchal.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's not. If he was making those faces while a woman was riding him.
I don't look at the faces.
No, no, no,
okay?
no,
I
no,
don't
no.
look at
These are
his
obvious
face.
faces. These faces make it look like he wants
like,
to murder himself. He'd rather cut his wiener off.
But obviously he wants to be there. He wants to be having sex
he
with
acts
her.
as if he hates being there. He really does miss his wife, and I get that.
Played by Amanda Peet.
Yeah.
Yes.
But it's like if you hate having sex with these other women so much, like maybe just don't.
Well, there was also a scene at the very beginning.
It's also very gross for men.
Where a 28-year-old threw herself at him in like a way that no man has ever had another woman throw herself at you unless you look like John Hamm.
It's almost as bad. This writing is almost as bad as like a Tyler Sheridan, where like the women are just running around in bathing suits and have no character whatsoever.
It's not that bad.
It's pretty close.
But you're enjoying it.
I mean, yeah, I like John Hamm.
Right.
But I'm like...
And Olivia Munn, yeah.
Yeah, I just wish... I mean, all she's done is talk about a man.
This is true.
Literally. Like there's no Bechdel test that it could pass in 100 million years.
I'm telling you, man, that Bechdel test is truth. It is the truth.
And all they did when all the women, like 6 women are sitting there together talking. All they did was talk about her tubby ex-husband who had like a 20-year-old he was at the pool with in a bikini.
Right.
That's all they did was talk about looks, men,
money,
yeah, things.
Yeah.
I'm like, yes, steal all these people's shits. Because it's about a guy who, because he screwed that 20-something-year-old that ended up, he worked with her and they used it as an excuse to fire him and lock him out of the business, and he loses all his money and he starts stealing shit from all of his friends and neighbors who have money. Which is
a cool idea.
Well, he's doing a thing, which is what we love, is dipping.
Right.
Where he only takes a little bit.
Just taking the thing that they probably won't even miss.
Right. He's like, he's only worn that really like $225,000 watch. He's only worn it once years ago, and he probably doesn't even remember he has it. So he takes it. I mean, the side characters are much more interesting. The skeezy pawn shop woman, much more interesting. In the first scene, she had more character than any other woman.
The British girl.
Huh?
You mean the British girl? Oh, you're talking about the...
Lou.
Oh, you're talking about...
She's like the pawn woman.
In her scene.
The pawnbroker woman.
Right.
She's coming out. She's like holds up a guy with a gun. She's got grandkids she shoos off. She had much more characterization than any other woman.
Well, that goes along to what I believe, which is that poor people are interesting.
Yeah, they are.
Rich people, they're not interesting.
No.
All of the things that made them interesting, they lost with their money.
Well, that's your problem with Sofia Coppola movies, like The Bling Ring or something. You don't like stories about
Mike
rich
White
people.
has tried with White Lotus to kind of show the depth of rich people. And it's a tall ask, it really is, to try to show the depth of rich people.
Well, to have resources to fix problems, while sure, every human has the same kind of human struggles and problems and insecurities and fears, all of that across the board is the same.
Right.
But to be able to have resources to put to work in order to balance those things is a lot different.
Well, that was what was so funny about the dynamic between Parker Posey and her daughter, where her daughter was like, I don't want to be rich. I'll go be a Buddhist. And then she's like, ew, the food isn't organic.
Yeah.
I mean, you kind of nailed that.
Yeah. Oh, no. I love that. And I mean, the best thing for me that came out of White Lotus, I'm not a giant fan of any of them. But the best thing is Piper No. Like, I feel like
Piper No
Buddhism. And also this TikTok trend where women are having their Southern moms just read the dialogue is hysterical.
And they kind of nail, and it really shows that
she
nailed the accent.
I so appreciate the work that she did with some kind of dialect
Parker
coach
Posey
to get it.
It's always weird whenever you go home.
When I'm in Tennessee,
first hour.
When I'm in Tennessee, my accent comes right back.
Fully back.
Yeah, it's fully back. Yeah.
Within the first hour.
No, because I stop thinking about it.
Right.
Because I have to always think about it and and stifling it. Otherwise I would just sound Southern the whole time.
See, our audience is like, why are you stifling her beautiful Southern accent.
I don't know.
Why are you doing
know
it,
if it's
John?
I don't know about that. No, but I love the Tennessee accent from where I'm from.
Mm-hmm.
Is really interesting because like all those consonants are so soft.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's like
Yes, there are
sound.
definitely more than 7 consonants in Tennessee.
Yeah, it's really interesting. How you going? And the sound of it is, I mean, it's I get it. I find it very interesting, but like the way that people hit their consonants is one of the ways that you can tell like where they're from.
You made some hot dog buns.
I did,
And they were so good.
Next time I'm gonna add a little bit more salt, but
Yes.
no, it was really fun, and they were much more flavorful than just a hot dog bun.
Oh, yes.
And I got 4 hamburger buns and 8 hot dog buns out of one batch
Yep.
of bread. I don't like bananas. And you bought like a huge bag of bananas.
It was not a huge bag. There were like
so many bananas.
There were like
the
6.
last time
There
I
were
ate
6 bananas.
The last time I ate a banana, I cried.
There were 6 bananas.
I
That is
cried
not a huge amount of bananas.
Because I was being forced to eat a banana.
If you had a dozen bananas, I would say that's a huge amount of bananas.
6 bananas is 6 too many in my house. So I'm like, Jesus Christ, you're only going to eat like 1.
That's not true.
So I'm going to have
That's not
5
true.
that I have to figure out. How many are in there right now?
There were 4 bananas in there right now.
So you've eaten 2.
I've eaten 2 bananas.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah. And they're already like practically
But
rotten.
no, they're not practically rotten. And I purposely have not eaten the bananas because we were saying we were going to make things with them.
Okay. Well, I was going to make a banana pudding.
Yes.
And I was going to make a banana bread. So I was looking around for a really good moist banana bread recipe.
Okay.
I screen grabbed it.
Okay.
And, you know, they're covered in ads. All of these recipes are just like affiliate links and ads.
Of course,
right?
of course, yes.
The ad that was right next to
ad
everything.
Right next to the banana bread recipe.
Was a maxi pad.
A used maxi pad.
And I was like, these affiliate link sponsor ad recipe people need to consider.
Yes.
What is going to be right next to their picture of their banana bread? And maybe it shouldn't be a used maxi pad.
I think that makes total sense. And I also think that there should not be used maxi pad ads.
At this point, unless it's really new technology, I think all women know what it is.
This is true.
And they also have selected their favorite. Unless it happens when you're on a trip and you have to buy them at a gas station, you're really not going to.
I'm just trying to think if there's anything like that with men. We're like, oh, I got my favorite. It's Aqua Velva.
This has gotten out of hand.
But we trust the recipe.
I don't understand why, like now that I know what AI is capable of, I don't trust anything that I read. I don't trust emails I get. I think they're all AI. I'll trust a recipe. Why? Like, how does that work? I won't believe, I don't believe that news, or I don't believe what they're saying about this or that, or I don't believe that happened. But God forbid you give me, you know, a hot dog bread recipe and I'll follow that to the end of the earth.
This is true.
And so if you really wanted to fuck with people and mess with their lives, you would fuck with recipes. That's really how to spread chaos.
There you go.
To be an agent of chaos.
To be an agent of
fuck
chaos.
with recipes.
There you go.
You know, I even ask AI about recipes, and you know I have my qualms with AI because it fucking lies.
It does.
And acts like it knows what it's talking about. But if it tells me how to convert something from 1 to 3 batches, I'll listen.
So this year's Sundance Film Festival has released how many submissions that it received. And the number was pretty staggering.
18,000.
18,000 submissions. And how many films does it actually screen?
91.
91.
Well, and the thing that they didn't release was how many of those 91 went through their lab.
Yes. Already with
Because I would say probably half.
Are already within the whole Sundance family.
Yeah.
And then how many of the ones that didn't go through the lab were from people that had already
gone through the lab,
already been at Sundance, or
when you do all of the math, I think probably
it's
20 films.
It's insane.
Of normal people,
Mm-hmm.
probably 20. But even at 18,000 films and 91 got in, it's like a 0.5% chance that you're going to get in. And it's expensive to enter. They're making a lot of money off of broke-ass filmmakers who think their movie was good enough to get into Sundance.
To set that as a metric is the problem. That getting into Sundance is, that is success. And if that is success, then not getting into Sundance is failure.
I was reading this article about this guy who has a film. Actually, it was a Reddit thread. And I've gotten a lot more into Reddit lately.
Okay.
So this guy has a film on Amazon Prime, and it's been doing pretty good. In the last 30 days, it had like 300,000 views.
Oh, wow. Good for him.
And 5 million minutes. Because, all of this stuff is like, okay, 300,000 views is fine. But it's also about watch time because that's how many ads they're actually exposed to.
Right.
So 5 million minutes.
So 300,000 views could just be popping it on.
Turning it off.
No, that sucks. Moving on.
And it only matters if you watched ads.
Right.
Like that's the only way it makes money.
Which is why the minutes actually make the difference.
Yes. So it's about $4,000 that his film made.
300,000 views.
Yeah.
5 million minutes.
Yeah.
$4,000.
Yeah.
Wow.
Eventually, when all of this starts to grind to a halt, or the level of entertainment becomes more and more questionable, this will be like a time capsule to explain to you how this person who spent hundreds of thousands of dollars on a movie, got 300,000 views, and this is just in 30 days, granted, had over 5 million minutes of watch time, and made $4,000. This is why we quit.
So the Republicans have gone off to try to make voting more difficult for what they're saying is people that shouldn't be voting.
Women?
That's the thing. So the Democrats tried to basically set up
something to protect that. Yeah. And they voted it down. Yeah.
And they voted it down.
Yeah. Because that's what they want.
If they voted it down, that means that's what they were after.
No, that's what they want. I've been saying this forever. In order to get your real ID, which is just another way to
discourage people
and discriminate against people who maybe can get a driver's license but cannot get a real ID.
Right.
Because they can't prove their citizenship. To get a real ID, a woman like me, I have to have my birth certificate. I have to have my first marriage certificate. I have to have my first divorce decree.
Unbelievable.
I have to have my second marriage certificate.
How can you defend this, folks? Look, I don't care what your politics is. How can you defend trying to stop people from voting?
No,
and
look,
specifically trying to stop women because women would not have voted this in.
We can fuck with all of you very easily and stop taking your last name. Fuck you guys.
I understand.
You know what would be even better? Stop marrying your asses. That would be even more awesome.
Yeah, I mean,
you know what we could do? Not worry about how it affects our children because we refuse to have your fucking kids.
I understand.
That would be great.
This is all leading to a dystopia, man. This is all leading to the end of the species. I mean, it's
well, that's what
so
Elon Musk
ridiculous.
is worried about. Elon Musk
God.
is out there having like illegitimate children left and right to try to populate the whole planet with his cyborgs whenever like birth rates are down. If you keep curtailing our freedoms, you give us less options. Therefore, we're forced back into parochial roles. We have to tune in and drop out of the patriarchy and feeding the patriarchy.
So appointment TV has become a thing again, which is interesting.
The binge model?
Yes.
The binge model, it's not sustainable.
Well, you end up going through things so fast.
Well, I mean, as a filmmaker, okay, if I'm making a TV series and I worked for a year, like from pre-production to production to post-production. I worked a year and you can binge it in one Saturday.
Yeah.
How can I possibly create enough content for you? You called it so long ago, one of the first podcasts we ever did. You said, "Oh wow, look, they're making something new. It's called cable."
Mm-hmm.
And
they're starting to take the streamers and they're putting them back together.
Cable worked.
Well,
and cable was trackable, and people still made their residuals.
I will go on Pluto, and I will start watching something because it is on. It is already on. It is already available.
You weren't looking for it.
No, I wasn't looking for it.
You're like,
oh, wow. I didn't think about watching that right now.
Right.
Okay, interesting. Let me pop that. Let me just jump into the middle of that.
Right. Oh, wow. I forgot. I didn't even know. Sometimes I didn't even know an actor was in a movie like that.
Mm-hmm. Right.
And it's a discovery. I do. Sometimes I want to watch shows on like some of these smaller channels that don't have streaming channels. It's really frustrating because I'm not going to get cable just to watch Honey Boo Boo.
The Pit was a weekly show. White Lotus was a weekly show.
Yeah, but you can, if you want to binge it, you can just wait a couple of months.
I guess you can,
but
you really can't do that because of the internet. There's too many spoilers. There's too many things. You
bring up The Pit, and while I loved it, you saw that the woman who created ER is actually suing The Pit.
Michael Crichton's a widow. Yes.
Mm-hmm. She's suing them because, come to find out, like, it's Noah Wiley and a bunch of other people who worked on ER as like producers and executive producers and stuff who are involved in The Pit.
Yes.
And I mean, I actually never really watched ER.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, there's 15 seasons of it, and I never really watched it. So I've been watching the first season, and I'm like, this is just exactly like The Pit.
No, it's not. No,
minus the romance.
Oh.
I'll say this about ER. I don't know about later seasons, but the first season, I'm so impressed with the set design.
Okay.
It is really smart, really beautiful. The lighting is good.
Right.
There's color. Their outfits, like in The Pit,
everything's white.
It's white, and then there's like dark blue and dark black.
Right.
Scrubs.
Right.
Which maybe that's modern.
Mm-hmm.
But it's not good for camera.
Yeah.
And The Pit is all just white. And anytime I've been to an ER, it's not been like that. It's not as sterile as that. The first season of ER, I thought the set design, the production design is so beautiful and so interesting on camera. And the colors that they introduce make it feel like a home.
Interesting. Well, I think that's probably something that they were going for.
The last episode of The Pit was not that impressive to me.
Well, it was...
And it was like such a build-up.
It was sewing everything up. It was like finishing
Yeah, but
up.
I feel like in honesty, they probably should have said, dude, you're going to have to get some PTSD treatment,
Well,
and it could have given us a send-off where possibly the next season of The Pit is the COVID season.
Well, yeah. Well,
because if he sat down in there and they were like, why are you here?
Mm-hmm.
And he's like, well, my coworkers, and this, and I had a breakdown. Why?
Well, I think that would have been really interesting to see what the COVID experience was like.
No, I think that should be season 2 is the COVID season because it affected season 1. I think it's the smartest way to continue forward. And we get to meet his mentor and we get to see him grow into the person we already saw him as. And we get to see some of the residents now.
No, I think that's a good idea.
Being just getting there.
Right.
And
But
also we get to talk about
we'll
COVID.
See if there is a second season.
The generational trauma.
Michael Crichton's widow doesn't shut that shit down. Love me some Michael Crichton. Boy, that guy has some ideas, man. Yeah. So many ideas.
And everybody's like talking about IP now. It's all about IP. It has nothing really to do with the product, like the screenplay. It's more about the IP.
Right.
And we got asked recently, like, well, what's the IP?
Right.
Like, do you own that IP?
You think your voice has changed.
I know my voice has changed because I was listening to some of the first episodes of the podcast and my voice is much higher now.
So you accuse me of being narcissistic because I want to listen to our podcast every week, but you're going back and listening to it from years ago.
No, that's not why. I think it actually has to do with losing weight.
Really?
Yeah, because like maybe there's less weight on your vocal cords.
Okay.
So like if you press on your vocal cords, like does your voice get lower? Yes, it does. Like there's more weight on it. But then when you lose weight, it like
Your voice goes up?
I think it could. Yeah. And like maybe as you get older, you know, everybody's like voice gets lower as they get older. I mean, certainly it's aging, but like if my voice is aging, shouldn't it be getting lower?
Right.
But if I'm aging, but I'm losing weight, is my voice getting higher? Because like I'm not trying.
I've noticed that with our nephew Johan. It's like every time I talk to him, it
His
seems
voice is
his
changed
voice
more
is
and
even
more.
lower and lower and lower.
Yeah.
He's going to be like Barry White. It's also crazy, you know, like, okay, like they just went to prom and, you know, all of these sort of like major life events. It's pretty nuts, man.
I didn't go to prom. I didn't want to. I think I went to the movies.
I was on the road, babe. I'm glad this is my prom right now, babe.
Every day's prom.
Every
at
day
our
is
house.
Yeah, exactly. It is.
We're just like sitting around sometimes
Yeah.
and doing our thing. And
Just
you're
hanging
just
out.
like, I had a great day today. And I'm like, we didn't do a thing.
It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. And then sometimes you'll be like, are you going to ever leave me? And I'm like, no. I don't know why you asked that. But I was like, no, I'm not. I didn't ask you because
I'm like, please.
I don't want to know the answer.
It's hard not to get romantic about movies. Thanks for listening to Married to Movies. Jon and Tracy will meet you for breakfast tomorrow.